Slam Dunk Reborn. I drew Akashi's Emperor Eye System. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. Check out my website for more episodes and audiobooks. Links are in the description. Episode 031. Tachibana Nijiro pushed the basketball into the basket with a height higher than his forearm. Although Sendoh broke through Tachibana Nijiro, the latter's wild speed soon caught up with Sendoh before he could attack the basket. But Sendoh's weapon is obviously not just speed. Bang tilde. During the dribbling process, he suddenly approached Tachibana Nijiro, and pulled the ball to the other side away from Tachibana under his crotch, and at the same time, he took the opportunity to find a confrontation. Although the opponent resisted this confrontation, it also delayed the defensive rhythm. Sendoh's purpose is very clear. Facing the tight defense of Nijiro's jumping jump, it is difficult for him to have a good shooting opportunity. Instead of pinning his hopes on shooting, it is better to rush to a place closer to the basket and then shoot. With his technical ability, he is fully confident to do it. Breaking into the penalty area. Tachibana Nijiro leaped his body like a tiger, like a piece of taffy, and the seriousness of his eyes gradually faded with the deepening of wildness and excitement. Sendoh didn't have time to think about it, stepped into the penalty area and jumped. Just. Only this? Jump higher, Sendoh. Tachibana Nijiro quickly followed, and at the same time, the cold tone on his mouth seemed to have the shadow of a bad boy, which was playing tricks. Off the court. Including Fukuda Kiku, who regarded Sendoh and Tachibana as opponents, Taroka Moichi and all Ryonan players were all dumbfounded, staring at the two people fighting on the court in amazement. The fight. It was so intense? No. Is Tachibana Nijiro a guy who can fight Sendoh to this extent in a 1v1? Ryonan suddenly has two scoring super trump cards? Then what about Tachibana Nijiro's super point guard performance before? A series of doubts kept emerging in everyone's hearts, and the more they thought about it, the weirder it felt. And Taroka Moichi has been looking weird since the beginning when Tachibana Nijiro showed a completely different style of play. Until this moment, when he saw Sendoh leap up, reach forward with one hand, and distance himself from Tachibana Nijiro, he attacked the basket extremely quickly, and then, because of Tachibana Nijiro's sudden defense, his action was somewhat deformed, and his hand shape for attacking the basket was forced to change from dunking to forward tipping, and tipping the ball to the backboard. Seeing this, he almost couldn't control himself and almost cried out. In the court, Tachibana Nijiro watched Sendoh point the ball on the backboard with his fingertips, and when he reacted, it was too late. Because the combination of wildness and natural jumping ability made him jump too high. When Sendoh's attacking the basket changed to a tip shot to the backboard, he had already landed, and Tachibana Nijiro was even floating in the air. The former immediately jumped again after landing, caught the ball in midair, and then lightly tapped it. Swish tilde. The ball went into the net. After Sendoh scored, he couldn't help looking at Tachibana Kojiro's legs when he looked back. It's not an illusion. He jumped higher than when the match started. Strange. He jumps higher and higher. Looking at Tachibana Kojiro's bright eyes looking at him and his high spirits, Sendoh's eyes flickered and he couldn't help but smile excitedly. He imitated Tachibana Kojiro's tone and raised his eyebrows. Tachibana, just jumping high is useless. Ha tilde. Tachibana Kojiro smiled. You guy. Tachibana Kojiro's round, he was fully focused, and his whole body was immersed in a state of super concentration, which was a bit scary. He stared at it and pushed the ball in his hand to Sendoh to wash the ball. Sendoh received the ball, and while returning the ball to Tachibana, he quickly approached 2 steps. Snap! The moment Tachibana Kojiro got the ball, Sendoh followed closely behind him, exerting all his strength to interfere with the opponent, in order to make the opponent drop the ball in a hurry. A little trick on the baseball field is that as a defender, when you pass the ball to the opponent at the moment of washing the ball, you should immediately close in and press, destroy the opponent's 3-threat posture, and reduce the pressure of defense. This is especially true for opponents like Tachibana Kojiro who have no weaknesses in all aspects. Otherwise, it is easy to fall into a passive defense at the beginning with a 3-threat threat and a combination of sudden shots. Tachibana Kojiro's eyes flashed slightly. Sendoh came close to him, and in the process of pressing, he tightly entangled Tachibana Kojiro, making his steps heavier and heavier. Snap! Tachibana Kojiro finally chose to drop the ball actively. In this round, Tachibana Kojiro, who gave up the 3-threat at the beginning, dropped the ball to the side and rear, stabilized the rhythm of ball control, and immediately opened a certain distance with Sendoh. Then next, Sendoh once again witnessed Tachibana Kojiro's perfect control. Different from the dribbling style of ordinary high school players, Tachibana Kojiro's dribbling pursues extreme simplicity and efficiency. There are not many moves, but the dribbling skills are almost honed to the point where you can't see the obvious arm swing. The dribbling is not very intense, but in every move, it is like flowing water, letting the ball dance with his displacement. Since you can't see the hand movements, it's like there is a force field that sucks the ball in firmly. At the same time, because of that skill, it is also an absolute severe test for the concentration of the defensive players. If you don't pay attention, you will be shaken off the center of gravity because you can't see the control movement clearly. Awesome. Tachibana. After becoming faster, it became clearer that this control was powerful. Sendoh felt like a paper boat, shaking under the control of Tachibana Kojiro. No. You have to be more focused, and make predictions to take back the initiative. Otherwise, if you keep being passive like this, the result is obvious. Then, if you can't directly predict the dribble, just look at the overall movement. TSK tilde. With a tooth-grinding sound of shoes rubbing against each other, Sendoh burst out with all his strength. Sendoh, a master of singles, had past 1v1 experience, which allowed him to make a certain degree of judgment from a larger framework. He blocked Tachibana Nijiro's breakthrough route one step ahead, offsetting Tachibana Nijiro's ball control advantage. When Sendoh completed a successful defense, Tachibana Nijiro did not seem surprised at all. Under the crotch. Turn the hips. Stop and start again. Snap tilde. Snap tilde. Tachibana Nijiro dived, turned around and passed Sendoh's defense, one step inside the free throw line, and at the moment Sendoh caught up, Tachibana Nijiro stopped and turned again. Jump up. The reaction in a moment did not allow Sendoh to think too much. Jump to block the shot. Tachibana Nijiro showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. Then, in Sendoh's dumbfounded expression, Tachibana Nijiro turned around and jumped to attack the basket, as smooth as a spinning top, and the space he pulled open by turning was also quite large. The most important thing is height. Kagami Tiger quick stop, turn and dunk. Bang tilde. Tachibana Nijiro pushed the basketball into the basket at a height higher than his forearm. The ball smashed through the net like a meteor. Episode 032. Although something still seems to be wrong, Tachibana, you are really a genius. Sendoh. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, it would be hard to believe that the person in front of me was Tachibana Nijiro. This guy. What a great move. And the height. After Sendoh failed to block the shot, his body hit Tachibana Nijiro. For a moment, he recalled the scene just now and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Soon, Sendoh once again stood at the top of the arc of the three-point line. In his offensive round, the duel between the two entered a more intense and white-hot stage as Tachibana Nijiro's wildness deepened. Snap tilde. Sendoh's dribbling speed was very fast, and the constantly changing dribbling movements were more complicated. However, in Tachibana Nijiro's strange and clear feeling of the increasingly strong pressure, he also realized that Tachibana Nijiro's speed, like that bounce, became stronger, and every time he was like hitting a wall, blocking him back. Akira Sendoh. No, maybe. Should it be called reaction speed? Snap tilde. Snap tilde. Snap tilde. In a very short time. Sendoh breaks through. Blocked. Breakthrough. Blocked. Breakthrough again. Blocked again. Although Sendoh was able to hold his ground in the face of Tachibana Nijiro's high-intensity pressing, he only managed to hold the ball. Tachibana's reaction speed in this round was too fast. No choice. Sendoh chose the simplest and most brutal attack. Back to the basket attack. Bang tilde. Sendoh controlled the ball steadily with his back to the basket, and then gradually advanced to the penalty area. After reaching a sufficient range for attack. Turn around. Continuous left and right turns, followed by fake shots. Tachibana Nijiro, who was highly concentrated in his wildness, did not change his expression and continued to block Sendoh steadily until Sendoh turned around again and suddenly attacked the basket. Boom tilde. Tachibana Nijiro jumped up. With a pop, the ball was pressed on the backboard by Tachibana Nijiro. Sendoh watched Tachibana Nijiro flash by above his head, and heard the crisp sound of nails hitting the board. He was stunned for a moment, and at the same time, he had only one thought in his mind. This guy. Who is he? After a moment, with the increase of wildness, Tachibana Nijiro won the game with a score of 11-10, and a smile appeared on his face. Wildness requires a high degree of concentration, which increases the sensitivity of a person's five senses to the limit, and then when playing basketball, it is possible to make a faster reaction than the prediction by looking at the eyes. It is quite difficult to maintain this level of concentration throughout the game in a formal competition. For example, as physical energy is consumed, concentration will inevitably decline. However, an 11-point duel is different. By the way, if a person can jump higher than others, it is meaningless if he does not jump earlier than others, because it takes longer for him to jump to the highest point than others. It is when natural jumping is combined with wildness that the real value can be exerted. On the other side, Sendoh leaned on his knees and looked at Tachibana Nijiro. To be honest, next time, I may not be like this. At that time, I may directly defeat you by scoring. Single quote. Now thinking back, what Tachibana said to Tsuchiya Jun after the match with Daigakuen turned out to be true. Use scoring to defeat directly. So, Tachibana, what kind of bad taste do you have? If you have such strength, you should show it earlier. Do you know how hard it was for me to play against Tsuchiya Senior before? Akira Sendoh still couldn't help complaining. This is teamwork, Tachibana Nijiro said seriously. Anyway, your physical strength is enough to digest the ball. Compared with scoring, I will of course use assists to bring out the strength of everyone in the team. Isn't the example of Tsuchiya Senior at Daigakuen clear? Sendoh, is that so? Although it still seems a little wrong. But, Sendoh shook his head and said admiringly, you are really a genius. Obviously, with such scoring ability and the passing ability of a super point guard, Tachibana Nijiro is undoubtedly a genius. But I still prefer the feeling of scoring. Snap tilde. Snap tilde. Snap snap tilde. Just then, off the court, Taroka Moiki's face was unbelievably kind. Looking at Tachibana Nijiro, the look in his eyes seemed to want to eat him alive. Tachibana, well said. I didn't expect you to have such awareness. Compared to Sendoh, who still has the willfulness of a genius player and is simply chasing points, there is no doubt that Tachibana Nijiro is already in the next stage that Taroka Moichi imagined when he first met Sendoh. Really, too perfect. But Tachibana, if you still have something hidden, just say it out in one breath. In the training match before the county meeting, Tachibana first showed off his ability as a super point guard, then his ability to intercept the ball and see through the opponent's offensive pattern, and then another big one. Although Taroka Moichi was pleasantly surprised, as a coach, he really couldn't arrange tactics, for fear that he would miss out on any of Tachibana Nijiro's abilities. No more coaches. That's all. Well, for the time being. All the members of Ryonan looked at Tachibana Nijiro and thought, what does, for the time being, mean? Tachibana? Why haven't you left yet? Waiting to lock the door, I saw that you were practicing so hard, so I didn't disturb you. Tachibana Nijiro rolled his eyes at Fukuda Kiku, and then suddenly laughed, but it's really interesting to watch you practice defense. Thinking of his poor defensive slide being seen by Tachibana Nijiro, Fukuda Kiku couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed, and coupled with his taciturn personality, the whole gym was awkward for a while. However, after seeing the key in Tachibana Nijiro's hand, Fukuda Kiku immediately said anxiously, please wait a little longer, a little later. You can give me the key, I can lock the door last. Tachibana Nijiro understood the meaning of Fukuda Kichawa's words, and was a little surprised and said, you still want to continue? This guy, really amazing. I have a training acceleration card, so I can use the card early in the morning every day. If there is no card, I won't come, but Fukuda is really hardworking. In sharp contrast, Sendoh has already become a fisherman and immediately escapes when the training time is over. Episode 033, you like fishing, right? Give it to me. I want a snack today, so I'll have grilled fish. After hearing what Fukuda Kiku said, Tachibana Nijiro nodded. Seeing this, Fukuda Kiku was ready to return to the court and continue the next round of defensive training. But at this moment, he heard Tachibana Nijiro behind him say, then, I'll stay too. It's not long before the county meeting, I also want to work harder. I can't let you, a substitute, practice more while I starter, slack off, right? Tachibana Nijiro looked at Fukuda Kiku seriously, then took off his coat and pushed the cart full of basketballs to the other half of the court. Fukuda Kiku looked for a while and found that Tachibana Nijiro was mainly training shooting. Suddenly, he thought of a question. Want to play a few balls? Hearing this, Tachibana Nijiro was stunned for a moment. Okay. Coming back to his senses, he quickly came to the half where Fukuda Kiku was. Looking at Fukuda in front of him, Tachibana Nijiro suddenly found that the expression on this guy's face was still as calm as ever after seeing the duel between himself and Sendoh today. And, Fukuda passed the ball directly to him. Let him attack first. Fukuda, you don't want to use me to practice defense, do you? Fukuda didn't say anything, just nodded seriously, and then made a defensive move. Fukuda Kiku, they are of similar height. Tachibana is 183, and he is 186. In terms of athletic ability, Tachibana is obviously better. Technically, when playing against Tachibana before, the opponent only used ball control and shooting to defeat him. However, judging from Tachibana's performance today, Fukuda Kiku knew that Tachibana Nijiro, who fully demonstrated all his offensive abilities, had undergone earth-shaking changes compared to before. The next second, snap tilde, snap tilde, snap tilde. In the silent gym, the sound of dribbling was heard. When Fukuda Kiku came to his senses, he was already staggered and completely lost his defensive position. When he really stood in front of Tachibana Nijiro, Fukuda Kiku realized firsthand how strong it was to beat Sendoh's offense. So strong. An hour later, Tachibana Nijiro and Fukuda Kiku were lined up in the empty gym. The difference was that Tachibana Nijiro was standing, while Fukuda Kiku was lying down. Fukuda, whose brain was completely empty, was exhausted at this time. This 1-hour experience made him clearly realize the distance between him and the genius. Tachibana Nijiro. Really strong. And most importantly, Tachibana is very patient. Although he couldn't defend a single ball, Tachibana was still attacking very seriously, and many moves that he didn't use in the game with Sendoh today were also used. For example, the fadeaway shot. For example, a tip-in dunk after shooting and grabbing the ball. After being drilled by Tachibana Nijiro, Fukuda really couldn't do it anymore. After locking the gym, the two of them prepared to go their separate ways and return home under the dark night with moonlight, but before they could go far. Not far away, in front of the pool at the side door of the gym, a voice suddenly came. I don't think it's shameful. After all, Sendoh and Tachibana are really good. Yeah. In fact, wasn't it the same to give way to Uozumi and Ikegami last year? Even if some people think it's really sad that they are in their 3rd year and have to be substitutes for the 1st year, I don't really care, as long as we can make it to the nationals this year. By the way, Funabashi, you are the only 3rd-year player in the starting lineup, so you should work hard. Ha ha ha, of course. This year's goal is to dominate the country. You dominate the country every year. Ha 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 tilde. This year it's true tilde. Tachibana Nijiro recognized the voices. They were Ryonan's substitute 3rd-year players, point guard Tsutomu Hokawa and shooting guard Yoji Isogai, and the one who responded to their hearty laughter was the captain, Funabashi Daisuke. Tachibana Nijiro and Fukuda Kiku, both of them subconsciously stopped. It's finally starting. Yes. We must not leave any regrets this year, whether we win or lose. Ah? What are you talking about? Of course we have to win. After all, the only time we can play together is this tournament. Yeah, that's right. What Tsutomu Hokawa and Yoji Isogai said obviously exceeded Daisuke Funabashi's expectations. He said in surprise, how could it be? Although we don't have the opportunity to participate in the national sports in autumn, what about winter trials? Funabashi, with your strength, you must use basketball to compete for a place in college, but for us, we will have to consider the issue of further studies at that time. Is that so? What, Funabashi, there's nothing to be depressed about. When we get to college, we will definitely play basketball again. Yeah, don't think about anything else. This year, we have Tachibana and Sendoh, there is also Uzumi in the paint, there will definitely be a bright future waiting for us. Now we, the 3rd-year students, just need to think about. Well, just like Funabashi said, to dominate the country, even if as a senior, we have to support the juniors on the bench, there will be no next time, we must win now. Don't worry. Leave it to me, we won't lose until we become the strongest in the country. Funabashi, you guy, stop bragging, run well on the court, don't hold Tachibana back. The voice suddenly became quiet until Funabashi Daisuke's voice sounded again, but this time, the cheerful and optimistic captain's voice had many more complex emotions. Hosokawa, Isatani, I'm really happy to play basketball with you over the past 2 years. No matter what the result this year is, when I think back to the time when I stood on the court with everyone, I feel that I am the best in the world. Funabashi Daisuke was suddenly interrupted by a voice. Hey tilde, seniors, why are you still here tilde? Akira Sendoh's usual relaxed voice not only stunned the 3 3rd-year students, but also made Tachibana Nijiro frown. At the same time, the big boy Fukuda Kiku, who was looking up and about to have tears in his eyes, also collapsed. In front of the pool, Funabashi Daisuke looked at Sendoh's fisherman costume with a surprised face. What are you doing? Oh tilde, I caught a fish today tilde, but because I can't take it home, I plan to collect water and keep it here tilde. At this time, Tachibana Nijiro couldn't help but stand up. You like fishing, right? Give it to me. I want a snack today, so I'll have grilled fish. Funabashi Daisuke, looking at Tachibana Nijiro and Fukuda Kiku standing side by side on the other side, and then looking at the fisherman Akira Sendoh in front of him, Funabashi Daisuke was confused. How many people are there? Did they hear what I said just now? Episode 034, that person's height and hairstyle are exactly the same as mine. That person was the MVP of Kanagawa Junior High School 2 years ago. That night, after Akira Sendoh showed up at an inopportune time, Funabashi Daisuke, Hokawa Tsutomu, Isogai Yoji, the 3 seniors said a lot to Tachibana Nijiro, Akira Sendoh, and Fukuda Kiku, such as, I'll leave it to you guys next. That night, Akira Sendoh went from being a show-off fisherman to being serious and a little like an ace. After that night, Fukuda Kiku was excited and trained harder, but he was a little too enthusiastic and practiced too much at night, but the response during the day was mediocre, which caused Taoka Moichi to scold him. In Fukuda's embarrassment, Tachibana Nijiro couldn't help but talk to the coach about Fukuda's self-esteem. After that night, in addition to the Taoka Moichi devil sprint training before the county competition, the fish that Sendoh secretly kept in the gym was secretly grilled by Tachibana Nijiro, Fukuda Kiku, Uekusa Tomoyuki, and Koshino Hiroaki. The four of them ate very happily. Sendoh looked very unhappy because he didn't bring him. Then, before we knew it, the National High School League regional qualifiers and the National High School Basketball Championship Kanagawa Prefecture qualifiers were about to come. Tachibana. In front of the pool at the side door of the gym at Ryonan High School, Sendoh called Tachibana Nijiro. The county competition will start the day after tomorrow. You won't practice extra today, right? Tachibana Nijiro. Obviously, they didn't practice extra a long time ago. After all, the training acceleration card had been used up a long time ago. Sendoh, who punched in and left work on time, really didn't notice it. Talented monsters are really abominable. Well, I'm going to save my energy for the day after tomorrow. Want to go fishing together? Okay, I didn't have any experience last time, so I'll bring seasoning this time. Tachibana Nijiro wanted to buy seasoning first, but Sendoh, who was vaguely developing into a fisherman, was very interested in taking Tachibana to buy fishing gear first. Sendoh, smiling, suddenly said, "Hey, Tachibana. Do you remember what the seniors said that night?" When Tachibana Nijiro heard this, memories suddenly came to his mind. Those were the seniors in the 3rd grade, who had dreams, passion, and self-esteem about basketball. Although he thought so. But, seeing Sendoh's relaxed smile, Tachibana Nijiro still replied in a naughty way. "Remember, not long after that day, I grilled your fish tilde." Tachibana, can you not mention grilled fish? Ha tilde. Just kidding. As for the seniors, I won't let them leave high school with regrets. Leave it to me. I have a strong feeling that this year's national competition will be the perfect stage. Sendoh looked at the confident Tachibana Nijiro in front of him and laughed. To be honest, I have thought about this tilde. But, that's not the point. I heard later that Captain Funabashi was very angry and quarreled with the 3rd-year seniors, because apart from the 3 seniors that night, some of the other seniors seemed to be sure that they would not play basketball after high school. Tachibana Nijiro nodded in understanding. No wonder. For a while, Captain Funabashi seemed to be in a bad mood. But to be honest, there was nothing we could do about it. Let's not talk about this year. Last year, I couldn't even start in a team like Ryonan High School that couldn't play in the county competition. It would be really difficult to stick to a semi-professional university. Life is a train, there are always people getting on and off, but there is only one destination. Just finish this last journey well, as long as you don't leave any regrets. The same sentence. Leave it to me tilde. Tachibana Nijiro patted Sendoh's shoulder, making the latter's expression choke, and then Sendoh was speechless. Hey, what's wrong with your tone of comforting me? Aren't you feeling sad for your senior and coming here to seek comfort? Sendoh. Although it seems to have such a meaning, but more of it, I just have some feelings about it and can't help but say it out. Tachibana, you obviously say good things, but you always end up making people angry tilde. Very bad. How about it? Do you want to teach me a lesson at the stadium tilde? Wait until I finish fishing. The two of them were bickering while walking, and at this moment, they didn't know what they saw at the same time, and suddenly stopped at the same time, and then turned their heads and looked at each other. Sendoh, that person's height and hairstyle are exactly the same as mine. Tachibana, that person was the MVP of Kanagawa Junior High School the year before last. Sendoh. Tachibana. When Tachibana Nijiro heard, same hairstyle, he immediately realized that the two of them couldn't be looking at the same person, and followed Sendoh's gaze. Sure enough. The straight uniform shirt and school pants, the height and hairstyle, as Sendoh said, were close to 190 centimeters, and he had a hedgehog head. The obvious S logo on the chest of the shirt and the word SHOYO on the inside of the logo exposed the other party's identity as a Shoyo student. That's Hasegawa Kazushi, the sophomore of the Shoyo team. Oh, if he's the MVP of junior high school in Kanagawa Prefecture, he should be very powerful, right? I'm not talking about him. At this point, Tachibana Nijiro pointed to the other side, where Hasegawa Kazushi was looking at with a shocked face. It's the long-haired delinquent. Not far away. Hisashi Mitsui, who was wearing a white vest, long hair, and a jacket tied around his waist, was talking and laughing with the smoking Tetsuo, and suddenly caught Sendoh's eyes. Although Sendoh was not as shocked as Hasegawa Kazushi, he was also stunned. Are you kidding me, Tachibana? No, it's him. Just look at Hasegawa Kazushi's expression. When he was in junior high school, he was defeated by Mitsui from Takeshi Junior High School. Now, no one is more shocked than him. At this moment, Hisashi Mitsui also noticed the gazes of Tachibana, Sendoh, and Hasegawa. He frowned and turned his head to ask his friends. Huh? Who are those guys? Does anyone know them? No. TSK. Instantly, Hisashi Mitsui's bad face was exposed. Hey, what are you looking at? Episode 035, the first step towards the first championship begins with defeating Shohoko. Mitsui, who knelt in front of Coach Anzai, tears mixed with blood on his cheeks, choked up and shouted, "Coach, I want to play basketball." This is a vivid stroke in youth, and Tachibana Nijiro's memory is very clear. Earlier, at that time, the first-year Mitsui, at the Shohoko High School Basketball Club's new member orientation meeting, stood on the stage, surrounded by stars, full of vigor, facing the burning eyes of Akagi and Mumu, who were also in the first year of high school, and confidently shouted, "Lead Shohoko to dominate the country." Mitsui, Tachibana Nijiro felt very attractive when he first met him. Later, the burning version of Hisashi Mitsui, who had lost his long hair, became more and more motivated in difficult situations, and became Tachibana Nijiro's favorite character in Slam Dunk. However, earlier and later, there was no such stage as now. "I am Mitsui, a man who never gives up." Mitsui is now violating his creed and is in a stage of self-abandonment. The complex emotions of adolescence, which lead to extreme indulgence, cannot be explained by a single word, idiot, and Tachibana Nijiro cannot save him. Mitsui still needs to wait for the mentor who appreciates him, affirms him, and points out the way for him in life. "Hey, what are you looking at?" "Oh, I'm looking at Hisashi Mitsui, the MVP of Takeshi Junior High School." Tachibana Nijiro blurted out provocative words, causing Sendoh and Hasegawa to turn their heads in surprise, and Mitsui, who was opposite, suddenly widened his eyes. "You, damn brat, what the hell are you talking about?" "Oh, didn't you hear clearly? I'm looking at the self-destructive Hisashi Mitsui tilde." The angry Mitsui, followed by Tetsuo and two other bad followers, walked towards Tachibana Nijiro. It looked like they were going to fight if they didn't agree. "Want to fight? I'm not afraid of you. By the way, watch out for your front teeth," Tachibana Nijiro said as he stepped back under the strange looks of Sendoh and Hasegawa, whispering, "Hey, get ready to run. If you fight, you'll be disqualified." Sendoh, so, why did you provoke him?" Tachibana, "Because I couldn't help it when I saw his behavior." Swoosh tilde, Tachibana Nijiro said and ran away. Behind him, swoosh tilde, the two figures, including Hasegawa Kazushi who was forced to get involved, had to follow and run. After all, judging from Mitsui's appearance, he was obviously also in the target. But compared to the ridiculous scene of being chased by someone, that person, actually Mitsui. But, why? He is the MVP of Takeshi Junior High School, Hisashi Mitsui. At this moment, the chattering voices from afar gave Hasegawa Kazushi an answer, and at the same time, he was shocked to find that the two people in front were running so fast. "Hey tilde, Mitsui tilde, you were really unlucky recently, the kind that gets your front teeth knocked out. Hey tilde, can't catch up? You haven't played basketball for a year, so your stamina is totally gone, right? You're out of breath? Still chasing? You're such an idiot. No wonder you sneaked back to play for the team before your injury healed. Your injury kept recurring and you couldn't get better. You're so anxious that you're jealous of Akagi's strength. You're so anxious. The only thing worth praising is your idiotic and eager desire to win. What a pity. That desire to win gave birth to a ridiculous sense of self-esteem and a sense of loss of glory. It was not easy to watch Shohoko lose the game in the stands last year with a cane. Because of these, you bid farewell to basketball and the court. You're such an idiot. Haha tilde idiot Mitsui, this year you'll read the newspapers and magazines to see how our Ryonan dominated the country. Don't be jealous of me then tilde. Hasegawa Kazushi. I see. Hasegawa Kazushi turned his head and looked behind him. Hisashi Mitsui could no longer keep up with their running pace. He was falling further and further behind, and his expression was fierce. In this case, that guy was right. He was indeed an idiot. Looking at the figure in front of him getting farther and farther away, he could still hear the man's non-stop voice. Since they were from Ryonan, could they be the two people mentioned by Ito who joined the team this year? Akira Sendoh and Tachibana Nijiro? In a blink of an eye. After Tachibana Nijiro and Sendoh's ridiculous rest day. It was May 19th, the day of the Kanagawa Prefecture tournament. Tachibana Nijiro was at the front of the Ryonan team, and at the front was coach Taoka Moichi. At this time, everyone had not yet entered the venue and was still in the players' tunnel. Before Taoka Moichi was about to enter the battlefield, he turned around and formed a circle with the players. Our first opponent is Shohoko, a team that lost to Awado Industries in the first match last year. It's no problem for us Ryonan. But don't be careless. Then, don't forget our ultimate goal. As Taoka Moichi and Captain Funabashi Daisuke took the lead in reaching out, all the players who played this time, including Tachibana Nijiro and Akira Sendoh, all reached out their hands and gathered together. Funabashi Daisuke changed his usual seriousness and shouted loudly, "Ah, the goal is..." The voices of everyone followed. "Dominate the country! Dominate the country! Dominate the country!" This team of aggressive Ryonan players, all wearing the iconic black and blue uniforms. The strong belief in victory spread from the players' tunnel to the ears of all the teams who had not yet entered the field and the end who had just entered the tunnel. Following closely. Going out. When Tachibana Nijiro stepped out of the players' tunnel, the incandescent light of the stadium fell in front of him for the first time. In front. The sound of basketball. The sound of sneakers rubbing against the floor. And the cheers from the cheering groups of various schools. All kinds of enthusiastic voices came one after another. All of this made Tachibana Nijiro, who had never participated in such a large-scale official competition, feel like an electric shock. He had never thought that there would be so many players and spectators in the stands just for the county competition. And Sendoh, who was only a freshman after all, could not hide his excitement. At this moment, Sendoh suddenly heard Tachibana Nijiro exhale beside him. Then, a low whisper came into his ears. The first step to the first championship. Start by beating Shohoko. Episode 036, this year we have a much stronger Akagi. No problem. The Ryonan crowd followed Funabashi Daisuke, who was holding a sign in the front, to the center of the gymnasium. At this moment, as a team in purple and gold uniforms entered the stadium, the volume of the entire stadium suddenly rose to a higher level, and the atmosphere suddenly became heated. Tachibana Nijiro turned his head to look. As expected, it was Kainan University-affiliated school. Hey, look, the King Kainan. The second-year ace Shinichi Maki has made it to the national tournament for 15 consecutive years. So strong, looks a bit scary, doesn't look like a high school student. Before last year's county tournament, Kainan had never lost, but not as exaggerated as this year. Weekly Basketball said that they often beat more than double the score difference in the training games before the county tournament. Huh? Is it true? The audience who broke the news nodded. Really, Kainan will definitely win the championship this year, and others can forget about it, even Shoyo. Shinichi Maki, that monster, is so strong. Speaking of Weekly Basketball, another audience member cast his eyes on Ryonan on the court. Speaking of strong teams, this year's Ryonan seems to be unusual as well. They beat Ebihara and Daegakuen in training matches, and the core players this year are 2 freshmen. Freshmen? Not everyone is Maki and Fujima. Also, which one is Ebihara or Daegakuen? The number 1 seed from Mie Prefecture and Osaka. Huh? In the venue. Tachibana Nijiro turned his head to look at Kainan. This was the first time he had faced Kainan since he came to this world. The first person who caught his eye was Shinichi Maki, a second-year student with dark skin and wearing the number 8 uniform. Although he was about the same height as Tachibana Nijiro, his strong body looked quite terrifying among a group of high school students. As for strength, the undisputed king of Kanagawa. Even if you look at the whole country, he is one of the top 5 players in high school basketball overall ability. Then, it was Soichiro Jin who was hiding behind the crowd of Kainan. At this time, he was still a nobody. As a freshman, it was less than 2 months from entering high school to the start of the county tournament. He might not have started to transform from a center at this time. It would take another year for him to make a leap from a bench player to the second in command of the team after Shinichi Maki. TSK one of the 5 future star players in Kanagawa Prefecture, the top scorer in the county tournament. Scary. Just as Tachibana Nijiro was scanning Kainan like a scanner, and was scanning Takasago Kazuma, wondering if this guy was an Akagi fan, Shinichi Maki suddenly turned his head and looked at him. The oppressive eyes, the mature appearance, and the spirit nurtured by last year's solid record made people unconsciously shudder. Of course. I mean the other people on Ryonan's side. Sendoh smiled indifferently, and Tachibana Nijiro took the initiative to greet him. Senior, are you surfing again? Have you become darker? You are almost as dark as you were in the 3rd grade, right? Hearing Tachibana Nijiro's words, everyone on Ryonan and Kainan's side was stunned. On Kainan's side, everyone was wondering if this person was an acquaintance of Maki, while Ryonan, who knew that the two did not know each other at all, was sighing that Tachibana's style was still so unrestrained. Whether it was to dominate the country, Sano, the weekly basketball reporter, or the Emperor Maki. This guy. He was not afraid at all. And Sendoh, who was chased by Mitsui for a street a few days ago, was even more touched by this. As expected, Sendoh turned to look at Shinichi Maki. The overly mature senior Kainan was looking at him with a puzzled look, and Tachibana even waved at him. But to his surprise, Shinichi Maki actually recognized Tachibana after a moment of confusion. Ryonan's Tachibana Nijiro? Is it that he has another first-year student who defeated Tsuchiya? Shinichi Maki immediately nodded to the other party. The other party's words may have investigated him in detail, and for him, it actually doesn't make any difference. Even if the other party defeated Tsuchiya. On the other side, a pair of junior high school teammates in the two teams, Soichiro Jin, were also looking at Fukuda Kiku, but the atmosphere just now, as the last substitutes of their respective teams, they couldn't speak, but just looked at each other silently. The opening ceremony of the county competition went smoothly. The players took the oath and then took a group photo. There were also speeches by several bald old men. In less than an hour, the opening ceremony was over and the first round of the game was about to begin. According to the draw results before the opening of the county competition, Ryonan's first match was Shohoko, but Tachibana Nijiro was not worried at all, because this year's Shohoko was mediocre in Kanagawa. In addition to Akagi, who was vying for the top center in Kanagawa, the only good player in the team was Miyagi Ryota, but Tachibana Nijiro noticed that the other party was not in the team. Presumably, on the eve of the game, Miyagi Ryota had a conflict with Hisashi Mitsui and Hotta Norio on the rooftop, and Miyagi and Mitsui were both sent to the hospital. Tachibana Nijiro's previous teasing about Mitsui's front teeth was not a joke. I wonder what Mitsui, who was being punished by his words, feels now. Will he think that it was his own bad mouth? Hey Tilda. After everyone had prepared their equipment, it wasn't long before the referee informed them that they could go on the court for warm-up. Then, Ryonan's players stepped onto the court with the momentum of winning the first game. On the other side, Ryonan, is it strong? Very strong, right? Compared to us, the opponent easily passed the first game last year. But it's already very good. Our division avoided Kainan, Shoyo, and Buri. This is already a good draw. After the warm-up, Shohoko was on the bench. The basketball team members quietly looked in the direction of Ryonan. Although their team's performance was average and they were eliminated in the first round last year, even so, because of Akagi's existence, their goal this year is still very ambitious. Papa Tilda. Focus, no matter who the opponent is, we just need to focus on Akagi and play our own game rhythm, and win the first quarter first. The captain of Shohoko stood up and applauded, cheering everyone up. Yes, come on, defeat Ryonan. We have Akagi who has greatly improved his strength this year. No problem. After hearing the captain's words, Akagi, who watched Yuzumi's brilliant debut on the sidelines last year and set a goal to defeat Yuzumi, also clenched his fists tightly. Then, the starting lineup of Shohoko High School was quite impressive. When they walked onto the court, everyone's faces were filled with confidence when they thought of Akagi's strength this year. However, a moment later, bang tilde. During Shohoko's offensive, a white light suddenly passed through the red and jumped from the free throw line to the penalty area. After Akagi showed off his footwork, he fought against Yuzumi's dunk in the air. With a loud bang, Tachibana Nijiro, who came to assist in defense, slapped the ball far away. The fierce block made the ball fly out of the court. In an instant, the Shohoko players on the field and Aida Yayoi outside the field, whose ear was brushed by the ball at high speed, all had frozen expressions on their faces. Episode 037, the jumping ability displayed by number 13 definitely makes him a forward, right? Ticket mission. In the first round of the county tournament against Shohoko High School, you will receive a card draw ticket for each block you complete. Achievement reward, card draw ticket times? Pool mission, defeat the opponent in the first round of the county tournament against Shohoko High School and win the game. Achievement reward, open the limited time, shoot a player, pool. What a great block. Number 13. Isn't it a first-year student? Who is number 13? Was there such a person in Ryonan last year? After a brief silence, the audience burst into an uproar, and the sideline reporter Aida Yayoi widened her eyes. You know, she followed Ryonan's expedition to Mie Prefecture and knew it best. Tachibana Nijiro can't jump that high. What's going on? On the other side. No. It's okay. It's okay, the opponent just jumped a little higher, don't be affected by his shot, just attack as planned. The captain of Shohoko High School was the first to come back to his senses from the shock, and immediately clapped his hands as usual to cheer up the players, especially to encourage Akagi, who looked unhappy. For Akagi, who wanted to dominate the country and was ready to show his skills in the county competition after a year of hard work, the ball just now obviously gave him a considerable shock. However, from another perspective, the target that Akagi wanted to defeat in this game, Yuzumi, just failed to stop Akagi's attack. This is good news. Then, Captain Shohoko approached and said in a low voice, Akagi, it's okay, you are much better than Yuzumi. The block just now is impossible to leave the defender behind to help defend at the right time every time, just play according to your rhythm. After hearing the captain's words, Akagi also came back to his senses. At the same time, he also received Koga's affirmative look. That's right, the timing of assisting defense can't be so accurate. But the jump is really too high. On the other side, a hint of joy flashed in Tachibana Nijiro's eyes. The reason why he couldn't wait to rush up and even jumped first was of course all because of the task reward. This task was quite good. After having Kagami Tiger, the block task was immediately refreshed, which was exactly what he wanted. Although using Kagami as a defensive player is a bit sorry for drawing Kagami's offensive card pool, who let Kagami's block have the blessing of natural bounce. Beep tilde. Not long after, with the referee's whistle, this ball was served by Shohoko from the sideline. Shohoko point guard, a simple 3-threat started, not too lethal, was easily blocked by Tachibana Nijiro. The former then habitually looked for Akagi, lobbed the ball into the inside, and Yuzumi quickly stepped forward to defend. Facing the 2-meter-tall Yuzumi, Akagi, who was 5 centimeters shorter, was much more cautious this time. After pushing his body, he just raised his hand and tapped Yuzumi. Yuzumi resisted the temptation. However, the next second, Akagi's offensive action suddenly changed from holding the ball with both hands, turning around after the ball landed, to raising his hand sideways with one arm, and then a small hook shot in the penalty area. Yuzumi, who was shaken by the confrontation and fake shot just now, suddenly changed his face. But at this moment, in the distance of his vision, a figure leaped up and suddenly blocked the incandescent light of the dome. Before Yuzumi could see what was going on, he heard a strong wind whistling past him, and then there was the echo of a basketball being hit. Following the direction of the basketball being hit, Yuzumi saw Captain Funabashi, who was confused and almost hit by a head-on blow not far away, and reached out to catch the flying ball in a panic. Funabashi Daisuke. Thank God. I was quick to react. When Funabashi Daisuke looked back, what he saw was Tachibana Nijiro, who was wearing the number 13 Ryonan jersey and looked a little excited and perverted, and the stunned opponents around him. Card voucher mission, reward is loaded, and the reward, draw card voucher times 1 foot is obtained. Hey tilde. Another one. But this time, Tachibana Nijiro controlled the strength and did not pull the ball out of the court. Ryonan's ball possession. On the bench of Ryonan High School, after a brief silence, cheers immediately broke out, and everyone shouted enthusiastically to Tachibana Nijiro. Woo wow. Tachibana, great job. Good shot. Today's Tachibana is on fire on defense. I don't understand him a bit. Sometimes he focuses on assists, sometimes he focuses on steals. Before, he had a terrifying scoring ability, and now he blocks the opponent's center continuously. Listening to the discussion of the players around him, Taoka Moichi swallowed dryly, pretended to be calm and clapped his hands, and at the same time did not forget to teach the players, especially Fukuda Kiku. However, after talking with Tachibana before, his attitude towards Fukuda has been softened a lot. See, Fukuda, to win in basketball, you have to start with defense. Even a talented player like Tachibana is no exception when he comes to the official court. I believe you can do it, Fukuda. Fukuda Kiku looked at Tachibana Nijiro, who was enjoying the cheers on the court, and thought with great envy in his heart that he also wanted to be like that and get everyone's cheers. His inner desire even made him fail to notice Taoka Moichi's change of attitude towards him. Compared with Ryonan, the atmosphere on Shohoko's side was much more solemn. It no longer had the confidence before the game that as long as Akagi was there, they could win. Seeing this scene, Shohoko's coach Anzai immediately called a timeout, which immediately caused whispers in the audience, because this timeout came too suddenly. Are we going to call a timeout just as the game starts? The new players nowadays are so scary. New player? Yes, a freshman. Ryonan's number 13 is so strong, he doesn't look like a freshman at all. I feel, it won't be like last year, another freshman like Shinichi Maki and Fujima will appear. On Shohoko's side, the smiling, white-haired ghost has been looking serious since he saw the action of Ryonan's number 13. He had no choice but to call this time out. Whether it is talent or mentality, he knows everything about Shohoko's current players. If he can't interrupt the opponent's momentum, I'm afraid the players won't be able to perform normally next. Therefore, this time out, in addition to arranging tactics to deal with no 13's help defense, is also to interrupt the rhythm and regroup. Not long after, the timeout ended and both sides returned to the court. It was Ryonan's attack at the moment. Tachibana Nijiro directly received the ball from the baseline. The opposing Shohoko players were surprised to see that number 13 was a point guard, even though they had expected this considering the height and matchup of the players on the field of Ryonan. After all, the jumping ability displayed by number 13 definitely shows that he is a forward, right? Episode 038, it may be time for the evil boy to appear again, and his target Akagi is just right. It has only been 5 minutes since the start of the game. Score on the field. Ryonan High School 18-5 Shohoko High School. Shohoko point guard. Damn, Ryonan's number 13, what is his origin? Shohoko's point guard complained about Ryonan's number 13 in his heart. While complaining, he glanced at the opponent and couldn't help but think of the waves of attacks organized by the opponent just now. As a point guard, he was the player who faced number 13 the most in this game. In just 5 minutes, the control and dribbling with almost no hand movements and the passing without pre-action were completely incomprehensible and tortured to death. Every time he blinked, the opponent had either broken through, or the ball was scored by other players of Ryonan at some point, and he didn't know where the ball was passed from. This guy. Too weird, right? In Kanagawa Prefecture, with no 13's strength, there must be someone who remembers him, but he has no impression of him at all. The point guard of Shohoku High School couldn't help but fall into deep thought. He tried hard to recall, but unfortunately, he couldn't think of it without the habit of subscribing to weekly basketball magazines. On the court, the point guard of Shohoku High School pushed forward with the ball, and Tachibana Nijiro pressed forward at the first time. The Shohoku point guard was completely unable to get rid of Tachibana Nijiro's defense, and even the ball control was in jeopardy. At this time, Akagi was stuck in the low post. Seeing Akagi reaching for the ball, the point guard quickly passed the ball. But in order to carefully avoid the lob pass of number 13, under the interference of Tachibana Nijiro, the ball was passed a little higher. With Akagi Takanori's skills, it was easy to catch the ball, but it was still scary. Snap tilde. Akagi pushed Yuzumi with his left hand and jumped at the same time to catch the ball. Then he didn't dare to drop the ball immediately, but immediately made a gesture to call for a pick and roll as the coach ordered. That's right, he called for a pick and roll from the restricted area, blocking the line between Tachibana Nijiro and Akagi, in order to delay Tachibana Nijiro's help defense. Akagi launched an attack while paying attention to the movements of Ryonan number 13. And his distraction was by no means aimless. Tachibana Nijiro's command tower vision ability cannot be blocked by a single pick and roll. From the moment the pick and roll was established, Tachibana Nijiro had already seen it. Almost at the same time, he had dodged the screen and came to a position where he could help defend in time. Akagi Takanori. Damn it. In that case. Then as the coach said. If it doesn't work once, there is a second time. Akagi didn't pause at all, and immediately passed the ball to the point guard who was released by Tachibana Nijiro on the other side. However, the Shohoku point guard did not have the ability to shoot 3 points, which was why Tachibana Nijiro could help defend the restricted area from the point guard's defensive position. Snap tilde. The point guard made another high lob. Akagi also took the initiative to find a screen again. Then he suddenly turned around and attacked the basket, with a small hook shot under the basket. The small hook shot with a good height, coupled with his long arms, had a high release point, and even under the threat of Tachibana Nijiro, he even had a little arm support movement. Tachibana Nijiro suddenly jumped up across Akagi's ball guarding hand, but failed to touch the ball. The ball passed Tachibana Nijiro in the air, past Yuzumi, and went into the net. Seeing the ball go in, Akagi didn't feel relieved, because this ball was too difficult and dangerous, and it felt like it would be missed if it was a little later. Ryonan High School's round. As a point guard, Tachibana Nijiro's style is the same as Akashi's effortless ball control and organization, and he doesn't play hardball based on his ability. This is definitely bad news for Shohoku High School. Although Tachibana Nijiro can score in a 1v1, in Tachibana Nijiro's understanding of basketball in his previous life, point guards must play reasonably, so that they can bring a more balanced distribution of physical strength, and will not reduce the physical input on the defensive end, which will lead to an imbalance in offense and defense throughout the game. As a point guard, he can also firmly control the rhythm of the game. At the same time, the offensive threat created for teammates by passing and controlling will also become a deterrent to himself. When the opponent is nervous about his pass, Tachibana Nijiro's personal offense will become easier. A perfect cycle. Therefore, Tachibana Nijiro called for a screen. At the moment of the pick and roll, Tachibana Nijiro passed the ball to Funabashi Daisuke, who caught it. Under the effect of the perfect pass, Tachibana Nijiro's pass was just right. At the moment he received the ball, Funabashi Daisuke felt the indescribable comfort again. However, such a super cool pass can indeed improve the hit rate, but obviously, it cannot guarantee a 100% hit rate. Take this time, Funabashi Daisuke, his mid-range shot missed. The rebound is mine. After Funabashi Daisuke missed the shot, Yuzumi, who was in a more advantageous position in the penalty area, grabbed the rebound with a roar, and then, in the excitement of grabbing the rebound, he took the opportunity to launch a second attack. However, he was severely taught a lesson by Akagi and received a huge block. Akagi, who had been suffocated by a point guard until now, finally had a chance to vent after making achievements on both offense and defense. The moment he finished blocking, he roared angrily at Tachibana Nijiro. His face was fierce to begin with, and when he roared, he looked like a gorilla. Tachibana Nijiro was confused. Wasn't it Yuzumi who just blocked the shot? Why was he roaring at me, a gorilla? Funabashi Daisuke looked at Tachibana Nijiro, who was a little dazed, and then at Yuzumi, who was a little lost under the basket, and clapped his hands and said, "This ball is my mistake. And, don't worry about that guy, he's just a guy with a loud voice and looks like a gorilla." Tachibana Nijiro would certainly not be scared. In his previous life, he had seen people who vented their tempers even louder, and even fought at every turn. But after seeing this scene, Tachibana Nijiro suddenly thought that Akagi's emotions were more stable than Yuzumi's, but not that stable either. With such a roar, he suddenly thought of the game when he swiped the card coupon on Ebihara, and the cautiousness of the opponent's attack, which was not easy to swipe. The bad boy, maybe it's time for him to appear again. As for the target, Akagi, who is the core of Shohoku, might be just the right choice. Tachibana Nijiro came back to his senses, looked at Funabashi Daisuke, and responded, "Roar. If he likes to roar, let him roar more." Funabashi Daisuke was stunned, and looked at Tachibana Nijiro's eyes looking at Akagi Takanori with great interest, and his heart was full of doubts. Episode 039, Taroka Moichi was very touched. Such a player actually came to him on his own initiative. Just now, Akagi blocked the ball out of the court. Now it is Ryonan High School's sideline ball. After a quick pass, the ball came to Tachibana Nijiro's hands again. Tachibana Nijiro broke through to attract Shohoku's defense, then broke through and passed the ball to Sendoh on the side. The same, perfect pass, effect, falling into Sendoh's hands, naturally flowed. Swish! The basketball went into the net, 20-7. Sendoh originally preferred to attack as the ball holder, but he was particularly comfortable receiving Tachibana Nijiro's pass. Take this game as an example. The team scored a total of 20 points, 14 of which were scored by Sendoh receiving Tachibana Nijiro's assists. Sendoh is getting more and more used to receiving Tachibana's pass. Shohoku High School's offense. Shohoku's point guard knew whether the Ryonan point guard in front of him was not easy to deal with, so he simply passed the ball after advancing to the front court. Akagi held the ball in the low post, observing the situation on the court, and successfully found Kogyo, who was playing pick and roll. However, Kogyo, who was forced to cut to the basket by Sendoh on the other side, did not notice that a figure suddenly appeared behind him. Tachibana Nijiro swung his long arm and blocked the ball in Koga's hand. Bang tilde. A big hot pot. Glass-wearing senior, it seems that you are not good at attacking the basket tilde. After Akagi, Tachibana Nijiro also responded with a block. Yuzumi got the ball and went to find Tachibana Nijiro as soon as possible. After getting the ball, Tachibana immediately seized the opportunity of the offense and defense transition and launched a quick counterattack. For Funabashi Daisuke, who has already used fast break counterattacks as his main means of scoring, no one reacted faster than him. Kazuma rushed out first. As for why he was faster than Sendoh, it was because he had left the defender behind and started running the moment Tachibana Nijiro jumped up to block the shot. Daisuke Funabashi thought that Akagi blocked Yuzumi and yelled at Tachibana Nijiro in front of him just now, all because he missed the shot, so he had to save his face. Tachibana Nijiro's advancement was stable and impeccable, and Shohoku point guard, who was defending in the front court, was easily thrown off by him. Seeing that Captain Funabashi was so confident in his help defense and was fighting so hard to counterattack, Tachibana Nijiro did not disappoint him and sent a long pass, accurately judging Daisuke Funabashi's landing point. Snap tilde. Daisuke Funabashi jumped up and grabbed the ball with both hands in the air, with perfect height. From the incoming ball to catching the ball and sending it into the basket. Enjoy the silky smoothness. Boom tilde. An alley-oop dunk instantly ignited the entire court. Daisuke Funabashi glared at Akagi, then ran back refreshed and patted Tachibana Nijiro on the back. Ryonan High School had an absolute advantage on the court. However, Shohoku's offense became more cautious, especially Akagi. After receiving the instructions from Coach Anzai, Akagi would not shoot without playing a few rounds of pick and roll. As a result, Tachibana Nijiro's assist defense was repeatedly mobilized by Shohoku inside and outside, and finally only interfered. Tachibana Nijiro expressed his understanding of this. After all, under such a disadvantage, it is understandable to pursue the success rate cautiously. At the same time, because Shohoku lacks the ability to shoot three-pointers as a point guard, he can unscrupulously assist in the defense of the inside line. But for him, it is not good news. So, Tachibana Nijiro turned around suddenly and said to Akagi in the interior, "Hey, Shohoku's gorilla, why are you still hesitating? If you keep playing like this, even if you make a shot, I will still interfere with it. No chance. Don't waste time passing the ball back and forth. What you need to do now is to play more rounds and try to score points. Time is life. Why don't you just dunk? Are you so unconfident in your own strength? What are you passing? Hey, no way. No one, as a center, is afraid of a point guard, right? Or, are you afraid of our Uezumi senior? Tachibana Nijiro suddenly kept talking, and the tongue-tied Akagi was confused. In this game, Tachibana Nijiro gave Akagi the impression of being calm and steady. He never thought that the opponent would say such provocative words. Just attack the basket directly, what's the point of passing the ball back and forth? The score difference is getting bigger and bigger. Akagi gritted his teeth and turned a deaf ear. Soon, the first half came to an end. Ryonan led Shohoku High School by 35 points 59-24. If this continues, Ryonan is likely to score more than 60 points in the whole game. Tachibana Nijiro scored 10 points, 11 assists, 3 rebounds, 6 blocks and 4 steals in the first half. Overall, the data is ridiculous. As such a prominent engine of Ryonan, Shohoku High School will inevitably invest a lot of energy in his defense. However, in this case, Tachibana Nijiro's data is even better than in the previous training games. Obviously, no matter how the opponent changes the defense, Tachibana Nijiro can maintain his own rhythm. Taroka Moichi is naturally very satisfied with Tachibana Nijiro's performance. Tachibana was very selfless in the game, putting passing first, and was very stable in ball control and passing, and almost never made mistakes. He also worked hard in defense, and could defend alone or assist. Perhaps because of his excellent passing, Tachibana's vision ensured the accuracy of his assist timing, which raised the defensive level of the entire team to a higher level. The second half began. Taroka Moichi asked Tachibana Nijiro to lead the substitute lineup. This proposal was made by Tachibana Nijiro. In name, he thought that the game with Shohoku was not very difficult, and this was a good opportunity to train the army. As for his real intention, Tachibana Nijiro naturally thought in his heart that he would weaken the strength on paper so that Akagi could attack the basket boldly. Obviously, Taroka Moichi was persuaded by Tachibana Nijiro. To be honest, Taroka Moichi is very touched now. Such a talented player who would consider the team as a whole actually took the initiative to deliver himself to his hands. Fortunately, Miyagi Ryota didn't come. Speaking of which, why isn't Miyagi Ryota here today? Episode 40, alright. It's getting better. Brush it up, brush it hard. Second half. As expected, all the main players of Shohoku High School continued to play. They wanted to use the window period of Ryonan's substitute lineup to fight for points, so Tachibana Nijiro had a good start in the second half. The departure of Funabashi Daisuke and Uozumi made Ryonan's interior defense quite weak. Akagi kept attacking the interior, but under the threat of Tachibana Nijiro, most of his attacks in the penalty area ended up attracting Tachibana Nijiro, and then passing the ball out, repeating this offensive routine. The score situation of Shohoku High School was indeed much better than in the first half, but the Ryonan substitutes led by Tachibana Nijiro also continued to score. Super point guard Tachibana Nijiro gave all the substitutes a sense of ease to get shooting space and a significant increase in hit rate. Ryonan's round. Tachibana Nijiro and backup center Aida Kazunari played a pick-and-roll match, and then the pass accurately found the third-year backup shooting guard Isogai Yoji. However, the next second, Akagi Takanori's help defense appeared in front of Isogai Yoji. He gritted his teeth. In order not to lose this opportunity to perform, and not to waste Tachibana's pass, he still finished the shot against Akagi. The reason why he could attack so boldly was naturally because Tachibana Nijiro's pass created such a good offensive opportunity and comfort, which made him completely confident to do so. Sure enough, Isogai Yoji shot from the penalty area against Akagi's defense. At this distance, even Akagi couldn't defend it. It was just that the huge gorilla was a little too scary in terms of momentum. The mid-range shot was successful. While Tachibana Nijiro applauded the senior in the third year, he did not forget to continue teasing Akagi. Perhaps Tachibana Nijiro's rather persistent strange words touched Akagi, or perhaps Akagi was sure that Ryonan's substitute inside line was weak and he was good again. In the next round, Akagi used the same trick again, calling on his teammates to get stuck in Tachibana Nijiro's defense route, and then he was very powerful in the inside line. The substitute center Aida Kazunari was hit and his scalp was numb, and he was out of position in an instant. Akagi. Good. Compared to Uzumi, this center is much weaker. He can shoot faster. That number 13, there is no time to help defend. Akagi jumped up, but the game was in the second half, and Tachibana Nijiro's skill, team analysis spider web, had already analyzed and completed Shohoku's movements. Long before Shohoku deliberately avoided him and Kogyo passed the ball to Akagi in the inside, Tachibana Nijiro was ready, but he deliberately slowed down his pace at the critical moment when he dodged Shohoku's screen, so that this block was far away from Akagi's shooting point. Bang tilde. Akagi succeeded in dunking, and the long-suppressed gorilla roar appeared again. Ha! Tachibana Nijiro perfectly concealed his true thoughts in his heart, pretending to be deep and solemn, and then heard Akagi's roar. In fact, if Tachibana Nijiro followed to the end just now, it is not certain whether he could block the shot, but at least he could interfere like before. However, he considered that if it was still the same as before, then Akagi's play should be reasonable in the next round. On the contrary, if he let one go first, then Akagi would definitely launch another attack in the next ball, and then he would complete the block, which would likely give Akagi an illusion, and then he would be able to brush it up. With the continuous preparations of the bad boy, Akagi did not disappoint Tachibana Nijiro. The next round, Akagi launched a fierce attack in the interior again. This time, Tachibana Nijiro saw through it and passed the screen at high speed in advance, entered the penalty area, and jumped up instantly. Kagami's natural jumping, the characteristic of jumping higher and higher, plus the wild reaction, made Tachibana Nijiro feel that his jump seemed to be higher. Bang tilde. Tachibana Nijiro suddenly jumped up and blocked Akagi. The ball flew out from the sideline. Card voucher mission, reward loading, get the reward, card drawing voucher times 1 foot. The moment of landing. Acting the whole set. Tachibana Nijiro roared at Akagi like a King Kong brother. Akagi was confused. He was born with a fierce look, and he was always the one who yelled at people. This was the first time he had seen such a situation. Akagi, who had never experienced such a situation, immediately glared at him. Tachibana Nijiro saw the aggressive Akagi and suddenly laughed strangely. Good try, it almost worked. Keep going tilde. Gorilla tilde. Akagi had to admit that he was annoyed by Ryonan no 13's strange smile and the nickname he gave him. Okay, next ball. Tachibana Nijiro glanced at Akagi coldly. That's really great. Akagi thought about it. In terms of strength, he was much stronger than the center Ryonan who was defending him now. The opponent couldn't stop him at all. As for Ryonan number 13, with the help of his teammates' screens, even if he couldn't completely stop the opponent's defense, he could at least slow down the opponent's movement speed. As long as he could get the first step to dunk in the interior, the possibility of scoring was very high. As for Tachibana Nijiro's block just now, it was probably because the quality of the screen was not good enough. Otherwise, why didn't Ryonan number 13 stop him in time when he dunked the first ball in the second half? Without further delay, Akagi took action immediately. Next, he attacked the basket more and more times. In order to maintain a stable hit rate, he used dunks all of them. Then, bang tilde. Akagi dunked over center Ryonan. Tachibana Nijiro was delayed by Shohoko's screen and failed to defend in time, and was knocked away from the side by Akagi. Akagi turned around and turned into a gorilla again. Pa tilde. Tachibana Nijiro turned sideways to cover and followed closely. Substitute center Aida Kazunari confronted Akagi head-on, and Tachibana Nijiro went up to block Akagi from the side. The two had a clear division of labor. Then, Aida Kazunari followed Tachibana Nijiro and roared back at Akagi. Card ticket mission, rewards are loaded, and the reward, draw card ticket times 1 foot is obtained. Bang tilde. Akagi dunked over 2 people, and his roar became more and more excited. Pa tilde. Tachibana Nijiro responded to Akagi and blocked the shot again in the next round, and the whole audience burst into warm cheers. Card voucher mission, rewards are loaded, and the reward, card draw voucher times 1 foot is obtained. Bang tilde. Slam dunk. Pa tilde. Block. Card voucher mission, rewards are loaded, and the reward, card draw voucher times 1 foot is obtained. Bang tilde. Block. Card voucher mission, rewards are loaded, and the reward, card draw voucher times 1 foot is obtained. Bang tilde. Block. Card voucher mission, rewards are loaded, and the reward, card draw voucher times 1 foot is obtained. Ha. Good. It's getting better. Brush it up, brush it hard.